This is an intro. Who needs an intro? I don't need an intro. This is just a vape show. It's just a vape show. Vape show. This is an intro. Who needs an intro? I don't need an intro. This is just a vape show. It's just a vape show. Vape show.
YouTube, what is up? I'm your homeboy Josh, back at you, and today we're taking a look at the Mage RTA from CoilArt. But before we get into this new offering from CoilArt, I do need to take the time to remind you that we all have a part to play in the fight against Big Pharma, Big Tobacco, the FDA, and the deeming regulations that are looming over our heads. That means if you're on social media, remember to paint the best possible image of the vape community that you can. If you're a shop or a shop owner, remember to remind your customers who come in that they have a part to play in this fight and they need to get involved. Remember to support all of your calls to action, including those to support the Cole-Bishop Amendment and HR 2058. We all have a part to play. These are the same guys that brought us these CoilArt coils not too long ago. They also sent me some more new coils that I might take a look at another day. But today we're just talking about the Mage. And we're also going to be vaping on some naked Hawaiian Pog. And the Mage is another RTA that improves upon the design of the Moonshot RTA. The Mage has some funky packaging, to say the least. I mean, just looking at it, it's got a lot going on in the box. It's got more going on in the box itself than a lot of other devices I've seen in the past. I mean, right on the front of the box, you've got CoilArt written on this like see-through little circle. It says CoilArt right there. Looking through it, you can see the device and you can see the O-rings, the multicolored O-rings, which give it just a really fun, vibrant, colorful look. Definitely grabs your attention if you ask me. If I saw that on a shelf, I'd want to go check it out. And then holding it in my hand, you know, I'd look around the package and you've got this like freaky looking staff thing. I guess that's, you know, the Mage. It's like this sorcerer's staff or whatever. It's got some specs in the tank. You see it's a 24 millimeter tank with a 3.5 milliliter capacity. You've got reminders to check out all of their social media accounts, and they have social media accounts for everything apparently. On the back, you've got a contents list, and on the side, it reminds you that it's the Mage RTA. So there's a lot going on in this package and all kinds of crazy fonts and funky stuff. It's a really eye-catching package for such a small device. Tweaks it just a little bit and makes it so much better than the Moonshot. In my eyes, nothing can be as bad as the Moonshot. It's the most annoying, most aggravating, most infuriating thing to build upon ever. And that's not to say that I can't build it. That's not to say that, you know, it's impossible to build or it's super difficult. It's just annoyingly difficult. Annoying in its design. The way that the deck spins on the Moonshot. One day I'm going to do a review of the Moonshot. It's old as dirt at this point, but at some point I'm going to review it just so I can bitch about it. Because the Mage is just head and shoulders above the Moonshot in every way. The tank breaks down so you have your drip tip, the top of your chimney, which also houses your juice intake, your glass tank, your lower chimney, and your base. And in addition to all that, you also get a spare tank with a vape band. You get a bunch of extra O-rings that come in an assortment of colors, so you can kind of customize the look of the tank to your liking. You've got an Allen key, and you've got a sticker. Every way, starting with the deck. The deck is the cutest, tiniest little Velocity style deck that I've ever seen. It's just kind of adorable. You kind of want to pinch its cheeks because it's so tiny. I mean, the post holes are not the biggest. They're probably something like 2 millimeter post holes. You're not going to fit like really chunky, massive builds in here, but it doesn't really have the airflow for those kind of builds anyway, if you ask me. It's really good with like twisted coils, maybe like standard Claptons. I don't know if you can fit dual fuse Claptons in here. I mean, you could fit, but I don't think it would work with the airflow. It's got these perfectly round air holes at the bottom, so airflow is going to come up from the bottom at your coils from underneath. It has pretty much the exact same layout as the Moonshot RTA has, down to the rounded nature of the air holes, down to the space that's set aside for your wicks, these little wick caverns that are created by the posts and those airflow holes, exactly like the Moonshot RTA. And one thing that was really cool about the Moonshot was the way that the lower chimney fit over the deck and then screwed down together into the base and held everything together there. The Mage does that, but it does it better. But what sets this one aside from the Moonshot is the subtle improvement they made to the deck. What's kind of cool about the Moonshot, its greatest asset and its greatest flaw is that floating deck. It allows you to place the chamber over that deck and then screw the chamber into place with the deck turning so that everything stays in place. So the wicking holes on the chamber actually continue to line up with the wicks. Problem with that floating deck though is that it makes it kind of annoying to build. The Mage RTA solves that problem by making the base and the deck one piece, but allowing the deck to turn within the base. Because with the Mage, that deck just isn't floating. It's not just like a spinning top that won't stay anywhere. It stays in place with the Mage RTA. A vast improvement over the Moonshot, the way that they accomplished that, while remaining incredibly similar to the Moonshot, even in how the Moonshot chamber has these little openings and these little cutaways that line up with the curves and angles on the deck itself that allow it to lock into place and turn with the deck that way. So they managed to do the same thing the Moonshot did without making it a completely floating deck, which I love that they managed to do that. And that alone makes it superior, far superior to the Moonshot in my eyes. Plus, I actually really like this top cap. The top cap has the same sort of top hat kind of shape that a lot of these Moonshot style and the Moonshot itself kind of have, in that it's sort of like this little swoop and a curve out to the edge, and it's really paper thin at the ends. It works really, really well, making it accessible to fill on the go, which is important for such a small capacity tank. It's only 3.5 milliliters. So it's important that the tank is able to open and close easily so you can fill it quickly when you're on the go. And it's also important that it has these super wide juice fill ports that allow you to fill it very, very easily just from a dropper bottle. You can actually unscrew the top of your juice bottle, upturn it, and dump juice in there, and you're not going to spill anything. I mean, it's got an ample, healthy fill port, and the simplicity of this drip tip, opening up, closing it up, you can't ask for anything better. This is actually the best one that I've come across in terms of this sort of style of tank with this same sort of top cap. This is the easiest one to open if you ask me. Also, the most comfortable on the lips. It's completely Delrin, it doesn't get hot at all. This top cap is super, super comfortable. I believe you can use your own drip tips with it. It looks kind of silly to do that though. I personally wouldn't want to. Dude, I cannot tell you how cool you look with that drip tip sitting on top of that other drip tip like that, and it's just bulging out way high, and it's like this super freaky long drip tip. It just looks so cool, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. You kind of look like a tool, to be honest with you. Kind of feel like a tool doing it. It's all Delrin, and it's really easy to take off. And unlike the Moonshot, it does not leak. No, it has not leaked on me once. Not once in my experience has this thing leaked on me. I've been nothing but impressed with that and grateful for it. I love the artwork on the chimney. The lower chimney says CoilArt there. It comes with a cool CoilArt vape band as well. I dig that. There's something about the font that CoilArt uses that I just love. So I had no problem slipping this vape band on the top of this device. And you've also got that CoilArt logo, that font on the chamber as well. It just has a really cool design. I mean, almost nothing says I love vaping like the phrase CoilArt, you know? I don't know, they're definitely cashing in on it with the name, and it's just a great way to rep vaping if you ask me. I love making coils. I love the artistry that goes into coils. I kind of wish this tank allowed you to put some beefier coils in here. You know, for a name like CoilArt, I just kind of wish they'd come out with something that really let me go crazy with coils. They've yet to do that. I've seen them come out with some new coil heads that have some exotic builds in there, and now the Mage RTA, you know, it's a buildable at least, but it still doesn't have the post holes or the build deck or the airflow to allow for some real artistic, you know, exotic coils. They still haven't gotten there yet. So I'm excited to see them come out with something that CoilArt name is really gonna mean something. Just saying. Other than that, it's very, very, very similar to the Moonshots. 24 millimeters in diameter. It's nice and short and stout, and it's a 3.5 milliliter capacity. It says Mage down here at the bottom. The airflow holes are way, way smaller than the Moonshot though. The airflow in the Mage RTA is a lot smaller than a lot of the other RTAs I've seen in this style. It's probably about maybe half, maybe 2/3 the amount of airflow that most of those other RTAs have come out with. You can't put as chunky of a build in here, but the deck really doesn't allow for it anyway, if you ask me. Now, what is nice about it though is that the airflow creates some really excellent flavor. Just with a simple twisted build, I mean, I'm getting some excellent flavor on this RTA. And I gotta say, it's gotta be due to the airflow. It's nice and flexible, but it doesn't lend itself to blowing the giantest of giantest clouds either. I thought that that would bother me. I thought that maybe I wouldn't have enough air to really satisfy me, but you know what? It does. And it's got way better flavor too. It's got really good flavor on this RTA. Even when it's wide open, all the flavors in this Pog are coming through. I'm getting the orange, I'm getting the kiwi, the passion fruit. Everything is really, really nice. It's a really good juice, and it really shines in a rebuildable, if you ask me. It is a very short RTA. I do get a bit of spitback at times, but not so much that it bothers me. It's really not bad at all. It's just a nice, flavorful vape, even when it's wide open. But you can close it down pretty tight too. Which intensifies the flavor, of course. All in all, it's a great RTA that improves upon the design of the Moonshot, and anything that improves upon the design of the Moonshot is okay in my book. The Pog by Naked 100 is a great juice for the summer. Definitely recommend you check it out. And until next time, I'm your homeboy Josh. Vape on, Vapers. And if you want to continue to see RTAs like the Mage come in and just completely destroy the Moonshot, I'm sorry, I just had to fit one more dig in there. Remember, do your part, support HR 2058 and the Cole Bishop Amendment.